So today we are in tropical Düsseldorf for the promo day of Testament's new album. And yeah, I think we start about the questions now. So first of all, Brotherhood of the Snake, why the title of the album?
I thought it was a good title of the record. I was trying to research what to start writing about on the record. I think in the past, we've been writing about stuff that was more real, like, being sick with cancer or losing a parent or something that was more real. Mm-hmm. And Eric felt that, okay, we wrote enough of that. Let's write something that's more, that we can use the imagination and write something more of a story of something. So I said, that's cool. I want to do that. So at the time, I was really paying attention on TV to a program called Ancient Aliens. And in that program, there was this connection of aliens and religion. And it pointed out that in many religions around the world, that in their writings or drawings, there was always these alien beings with the long arms and the big heads and flying objects in the sky. And it made me think, maybe there is something, maybe there is aliens, and maybe we are created by aliens. Kind of opened my mind to it, because I was born and raised a Catholic and my mom was very religious, so it didn't go with what I was raised to believe and all that. But it made me think, what is the connection? How did they see the same thing in so many different parts of the world so long ago? So that kind of opened my mind to maybe that's something we can write about. And then I came across the story of the Brotherhood of the Snake, which is about a secret society over 6,000 years ago. And they were basically an alien race that was had Anu, an alien king that basically created man to work as slaves down here on planet Earth to mine for the gold and minerals of the planet and then control our Earth. So I kind of, but connecting the religion and aliens and Brotherhood of the Snake, I mentioned it to Eric and I had him, told him, you got to read this story, Brotherhood of the Snake. And he read it, and after he goes, yeah, I like that idea, and that would be a good name of the record, Brotherhood of the Snake. So right there, we were like, okay, so that's where we're going. That's where we're going to create our story, is aliens, religion, the Earth, everything, and that's what kind of got the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so is the Pale King? Is it
the Pale King? The Pale King is the alien leader Anu, basically trying to condemn people to our planet and take it over and create it for himself, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and how does cannabis fight?
Well, cannabis. There's after we wrote a bunch of songs, we kind of we got to kind of stray away from that. You can only write so much about mm-hmm. the topic, but we still wanted to be part of the planet and stuff, and cannabis, because it grows from the earth. It's been, I'm sure it's been growing for a long time on the earth. I got my medical card in California last year, where I can buy medical marijuana. And after I got my card, someone told me, there's an app on your phone now for everything. Mm-hmm. So there's an app called Weed Maps, and it's almost like Uber, where you open the app and you see yourself here, and you can see all the people around you that have marijuana that can deliver it to your house. And you hit the little button, you can see the menu, and you can order what you want off the menu.
Okay.
And I was like, this is just too much. It's like, what? It's crazy. And then, Colorado and Washington and California starting to come around legalizing marijuana for medical use. Mm-hmm. And it made me also think, shoot, it's connection to the planet too, and it's a political statement too. And I think maybe I would believe that politician would see how much money Colorado made. They made over $200 million in tax money, because of marijuana. Mm-hmm. So politicians always, their campaign are always, we're going to save the deficit and get us back on our feet. The answer is right there. There's marijuana that you can put in everywhere and legalize it, tax it. There's not going to be any deficit, you know, in the world. So there was that connection, because the Brotherhood of the Snake, secret societies, to me was always, still to this day, meant power and control, either in big business, corporate business, or in politics. So it was just something, again, that kind of tied in politically with the whole message.
So you also take the ideas for your songs still from kind of that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, we wanted it to be not so direct, and you know, that's a real thing, but it's still tied in, linked in with the story of the Brotherhood of the Snake and the secret societies and stuff, because we couldn't write every song about a secret society and things like that. So, but they all had to somehow connect a little bit and be a part of each other. Songs like Neptune Spear or Blackjack, those are two songs that kind of got off the topic, you know, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. In another interview, I heard that with all this work process for Brotherhood of the Snake, you had enough time in the first place, but in the end, you kind of got into a hurry. Is that right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it made a big fight between me and Eric.
Okay.
I was probably very angry at Eric and mad and wanted to yell at him, and because he'd been working on these songs for like a year and a half, and I wrote some lyrics like for a year and a half, but the songs never were complete. You know, when he gave me music, I said, well, where's the verse? Where's the chorus? And he's like, I don't know, just write lyrics. So I just wrote over all the parts, you know. So when it came time to do a record, we knew that we had to record a record by June 15th this year. If we wanted a record this year, we had to deliver it by July. So we knew that we had a small window with Gene. Gene only had a couple weeks available in May. So we decided, okay, maybe we don't have the songs finished, but we don't have a choice. We need to record this record. So we booked the studio and put pressure. The pressure was on. We put the pressure on us. But it was the first record that we didn't do rehearsals. We didn't do a demo.
Okay.
And Alex, Steve, and Gene, going into the record recording process, they had never even heard the songs. So it was a scary time, because maybe we're making a mistake going too early just to get it out this year. And what happens if it sucks and the press and the fans don't like it, and then what happens? We're in trouble. So that was the scary part going into it. But I think maybe having that frustration and anger and pressure pushed us away from being comfortable and made us dig down deep and get creative, I think, and maybe not second guess the work we did. Maybe if we rehearsed them and demoed it, maybe we'd have polished it up too much. Where this one it's not polished like that, but all of it came together somehow in the end. I would never want to try to do a record like this again the way we wrote it, because it drove me crazy. I probably got a lot of gray hairs because of it, you know, and it just it wasn't fun to do. You know, and writing music and creating music is supposed to be fun, and it wasn't very fun, you know. It was scary, you know, because I thought, this is it, we're gonna screw up and write something bad, and that will hurt the band at this point in the career.
Yeah.
So, but in the end, you know, after listening to the final product, because going into the product, we definitely said on the Dark Roots record, what are we missing on this record? And I felt, and so did Eric, that we want to play faster and maybe pick up the tempos. I wanted to still sing a little more, get away from a little more of the death stuff. We wanted a bigger drum sound, better drum sound, bigger toms, bigger kick drums. We recorded on a bigger drum set. And everything we talked about that we wanted to accomplish, I think we did on the record as far as the recording style. It was just, and lyrically, we came up with a cool concept. And in the end, because the songs were in such parts, you know, they weren't just, here's your verse, chorus, and all the same riff. It was a lot of different riffs put together.
Exactly.
So when I wrote it, they all seemed to work together still. It was a miracle, you know, it's like, you know, it just seemed to work.
So it's kind of like you work together as a band very good, even if you...
Well, we're lucky that we have very talented musicians playing in the band. On the Dark Roots of Earth record, I thought the songs were kind of mid-pace songs. I'm thinking, we got Gene Hoglan playing drums here. You should be like playing fast and killing it, you know? So we knew we wanted to pick it up and let Gene play some more, you know? And on the record, he's busy. He doesn't stop. He's playing really a lot of stuff going on.
That's cool. Yeah, I had the luck to listen to the record already, to the album, and I have to say it's absolutely great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so...
It's different. I mean, I think because we're a band that don't write extra songs for records, so it's always going to sound new whenever we write a record. I don't think any of the Testament records sound exactly the same as each other. You know it's Testament, but they don't sound the same.
Exactly.
So I think, again, you know, we created something, again, that surprises us, you know, and makes us very proud because it doesn't always happen like that, you know.
What would you choose as your favorite songs on the Brotherhood of Snake?
I have a lot of them. Because a lot of them, I'm proud of a lot of it. But I think songs like Seven Seals, because that was the one for me going into the recording process. Eric never told me he had a new song, and I found out from the engineer. It's like, did you hear the new song? I'm like, no, Eric didn't share that with me. Give it to me. I need to write some words. So I studied the song for a couple of days, and then I went home and I found the melody, and I wrote the song in one night, and came back the next day and recorded the song. And it turned out probably one of the better songs. And when you do songs like that happen naturally and meant to be, and you're singing from your gut feeling what feels right, those are special songs. You know, you don't get to do that. You know, we did that with like Native Blood and More Than Meets the Eye, songs like that we just wrote like naturally. So that one stands out for me because the circumstance, how it came together. And
the lyrics to Seven Seals, is it because of your kind of religious approach?
Well, that one, yeah, that basically, Seven Seals is the book of Revelations is sealed by seven seals, and it basically comes down to a battle between Christ and the devil, and Christ wins the fight. And since he wins the fight, he earns the right to break the seals. And when the seals are broken is basically when the end of the world is coming, when those seals are broken. So it just, I had that, well, I didn't have the lyrics, I had the story of the seals. And I didn't write it yet, so it was kind of, I had all the other songs written, so I didn't use it. So I still had that, so when that song was like, I still needed to write a song, like I'm going to use the Seven Seals, and it just seemed to work, you know?
Absolutely. Cool. And what was your approach towards number game? Because, that's...
Well, the number game was, when I wrote that one, I had only the chorus line, 14 days, 14 lives. I had that part only when I first heard the song, and it just kept sticking in my mind, that line, and I wrote that song with Steve Souza from Exodus, and I'm going, okay, I got this line, 14 days, 14 lives. We decided, why don't we make it about a serial killer that's on a killing spree, that kills somebody in 14 days. He looks for a new victim every day for 14 days. And when we wrote it, we had the music to it. And when we wrote it, it just so happened that we counted down from 14 down to 1. It just fit perfectly. We didn't have to extend the song or shorten the song. We're like, how coincidence did that happen that it just made sense and fit? And we're like, I guess it was supposed to be that way. That's why.
A lot of magic on that album, kind of.
it is. It's crazy because from being scared and fighting with each other and thinking, if we have a big fight, maybe we'll break up because the fight's too big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To come out of it with a strong record.
Yeah.
And then now, after it's said and done, looking, okay, it's good. Okay, you're okay, Eric. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to beat you up, We're okay. So, yeah, we went through a lot to get this record done, emotionally, to get it done. But now that it's done and it came out as good as it did, we're very proud of it. And we did it again. I think we topped our last record, again. And that's very hard to accomplish, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything a goal or something you want to accomplish still, where you said, okay, we haven't been there, and we want to work on that?
Not musically, and maybe just as far as performance-wise. I mean, we've been around 30 years, and there's still some places on this world that we haven't performed. Mm-hmm. The internet, I'm sure a lot of people everywhere know our band or know our music, but we haven't got there yet. So there's still places that I tell our agent, hey, if we haven't been there, book it. Let's go. We need to play everywhere. There's some bands that we would love to play for. We've had the opportunity to play with all our heroes, from Judas Priest to Iron Maiden to Black Sabbath. And then there's one left, Metallica, that hasn't played. We haven't played with or toured with. Uh-huh. Which every time I see James, it's, James, when are you going to take us on the road with you guys? I don't know the reason why we haven't. He can only answer that. But we both have new records coming out really close to each other, so. You never know, maybe the magic will still continue and we can get a tour with them.
That would be cool.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm. So you just said you've been around a lot with the band and so on, and a long time now. What do you think? What did change concerning fans or concerning all those musical stuff around, and why is just also thrash metal still that kind of popular? Because
well, it had its ups and downs. In the 80s, it was brand new. Mm-hmm. It created a buzz, and it was going strong all the way up to the point to where Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all that kind of changed the climate of radio and changed the climate of like MTV. And all of a sudden, all the major labels decided, wow, Pearl Jam recorded a record for cheap. We want more of those to spend less money, but sell more records and make more money. So they were looking for more. So all the metal bands, especially on major labels, were starting to get dropped. They started letting all those bands go. And a lot of bands just quit too, because there was no access for their band anymore. Times ticket sales went down, just promotion, everything. So it kind of changed at that time. But I still think that there's always going to be a young, rebellious teenager that likes hard, aggressive music to rebel with.
Absolutely.
Because you can't do that with Pearl Jam,
That's right.
So I think through those 90s was tough for all metal. Unless you're Metallica or something like that, But when 2000s start, I think a whole next generation of bands started coming around, getting success, and started making the awareness with magazines and the fans, and it started becoming healthier again and growing again. And like I said, there's always going to be that rebellious kid that likes that music, And where we're at today, I think it's back to, we're left off, it's healthy again, but it's also the new generation of people, fans and musicians, creating music that were inspired by this style of music,
Mm-hmm. Okay, and is there kind of differences on certain continents or certain cities or something where people, for example, are especially rowdy?
Oh, yeah. In South America, they are
Okay.
lunatics. You go there because they don't get to see, a lot of bands can't make it there. So when they do get there, they're so passionate about their bands and so happy that you're there. They're crazy, we pull in the van to the show and you feel like you're the Beatles, they're shaking the van and screaming and hitting the windows. You think they're going to break the windows and stuff. They're crazy. And then, especially like at Bogota, we play there, it's big crowds, but people run around with flares in their hands in the pit. And you're like,
Okay.
This is just madness, they're so crazy. That's probably like the craziest place ever is South America when you go play there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're passionate for their music and they love their metal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, you also had some changes in lineup with the band. Some band members left and so on.
Yeah, well, Steve back in the band now, playing bass is really good. It's, he did The Gathering and the First Strike Still Deadly record with us, and then we had the reunion with the original members. And then when Greg decided to step down from the bass, that was definitely the time to call Steve and see if he's still interested to play. And he's like, yeah, of course he was. So Steve comes back and brings new energy, and he's funny and a character, and it's good in the band right now. It's really good.
That's fine.
Yeah. And having the band where we're at so comfortable, gives us a little more confidence in what we do. We don't care I guess we do, but it doesn't play a big part like it did when we were younger, what fans thought of, like when we were writing power ballads and stuff in the past. You'd always think, are the fans and the press going to criticize it and, not like that? Where we don't think about that anymore. If the music feels good and it turns us on, then that's all that matters, especially after I beat cancer. And I came back and we had the reunion, and it just felt like I got a second chance to do this again. And don't screw it up. Let's do it right. Let's write good music. Let's get back and work hard, because when we were doing The Gathering, we weren't touring a whole lot because we didn't know who was in the band. We just kept having different members all the time then. So now that we have a full band and everybody's 100% behind the project, this is our life and this is how we make a living now, is this band. So we're like, let's go play. Is everybody in? Yes, let's do it. And so that's kind of the mentality, and having the confidence that everybody's in it together makes it easier for us.
Good. And yeah, as you said, kind of a personal question. When you said you beat cancer, and is it really feeling like a second chance now that you just can do everything?
It's a second chance, that, especially because of the band. But again, also, just personal life and living and family and friends and nature and, everything is good, and I appreciate it more. And, and we tour, our son is 29 years old, so he's a grown man. So now my wife gets to travel with the band and she works for the band. And it's nice that we get to be together and play music and have a wonderful life. And it's good. If something ever happened to me now, I would look back and go, you know what? No regrets. I've had a great life. It's all you can do.